Hello, I'm Jeff Banks and welcome to Retail Insights here at the Spring Fair. I'm delighted that I'm joined by Stephen Spencer of Stephen Spencer Associates on this, which is the 75th anniversary of the Spring Fair. It still remains the biggest trade exhibition in the United Kingdom. Quite an amazing achievement. But what is most important is what actually makes up the Spring Fair. Who are the contributors? Who are the clients? Who actually makes it tick? So, Stephen, what's your job? How are you involved?
Well, great to be here, Jeff. And I have been involved with Spring Fair for over 30 years. I remember parking in a field in the snow and, coming back to the car, not being able to find it and having seen the show grow to the size that it did in recent years.
Was that as a retailer and a customer?
That was a retailer. So I kind of fell into the world of museum and heritage retailing. I was the first professional buyer at the Tower of London, and then the first professional buyer and retail manager for the Royal Collection. So the first 5 years of Buckingham Palace being open to the public, I was running the shop, which I think surprised a lot of people. It showed how powerful retail can be in extending visitor experience. And so now I run a consultancy that ties all that together, helps businesses to really get clarity around their brand and then turn that into revenue streams through delighting their customers. And I think particularly these days, very importantly, delighting their people, their teams as well.
So would you actually, if you were approached by Knowlesley Hall, for instance, outside Liverpool, and Lord Derby actually got in touch with you and said, we've got the Knowlesley experience, he would wheel you in to actually create a Knowlesley product.
Correct. And in fact, I did work with Lady Derby at the Royal Collection many years ago, indeed, or Cassie, as Cathy, we knew her. Yeah. But yes, no, indeed. So what we would tend to do is to look at perhaps their archive, look at some of the iconic images or experiences that their visitors particularly focus on, and try and create a range, I think particularly today, not just that was design-led, that had authenticity, but also thinking about sustainability as well, because I think more and more the future of retail has to have those values that will appeal to the next generation, that we need to come out and support retail, in-person retail rather than just online.
So I think one of the other things I know that is near and dear to you is actually the quality.
Absolutely.
A lot of these kind of heritage shops have had poor quality product, quite trashy a lot of the time. And part of your remit is to actually improve that quality bar to make it a worthwhile acquisition and not something that just gets thrown in the back of the drawer when you get back from the Tower of London.
Yes, absolutely. I think really today, we know that probably experiences are more important than stuff. And I think retail should be an extension of the experience. Now, for example, I was lucky enough to study at the Disney Institute. And we all know that retail at Disney extends the experience. The shop, the way the merchandise is presented, the music, the smells, everything is extending the experience that you've had. That's what I think retail has to be in the 21st century. It has to be values-based. It has to have creativity. It has to have theatre. It has to appeal to all the senses, which is what I talk about a lot, ambience, all of the senses being used really to maximise people's engagement with a brand. So it no longer is just about sticking a logo on the side of a product. It's about thinking how this product is going to resonate with people and become part of their lifestyle.
One word you use there, which I find interesting, is value, which is on everybody's tongue.
Yes.
How do you identify value? What is good value?
Well, I think there are two things. There's a guy that I got to meet just before COVID, Joe Pine, who with another guy called Jim Gilmore wrote the book, The Experience Economy, in the late 90s, and they've just updated it. And he talks about value for time. So, although we're going through a cost of living crisis and we're very conscious that people really need to feel convinced that the money they're spending is the best value they can get, I think that's as much about value for time as value for money. So, for example, what am I going to do with my kids on a Saturday afternoon? It's really important because I might not have very much money and I need to spend it in a way that's going to give us a quality time together. So I think it's value for time as well as value for money.
So what represents good value in a product?
I think a product that is genuinely life enhancing or life affirming, a product that brings the recipient or the person that buys it joy, something that they're proud to have, that they want to share and talk about and maybe put on their coffee table and show it to other people, or that says something about how they see themselves and their values.
So it's not just about the money.
Not at all. In fact, the whole idea is that people forget the money so long as they're actually bought into the product and what it represents.
Now, your attendance at Spring Fair, what would you actually, given the roles that you have now with these various companies that you're advising, steering them in the right direction, what are you actually looking for when you walk into those 7 or 8, 9 halls?
Again, I think it's, can I see how this translates to a retail experience? And interestingly, I've had a lot of conversations with this. How does it translate to a retail experience, both online as well as a physical experience? Because I don't think the two should be seen as separate. When sort of clicks and mortar first was talked about, I think you very much saw websites as just, here's the products, you can buy them, or you can go to the store. But the experience was different. The only thing that was the same was the products. Then the narrative was, well, actually, the high street's dead. Everyone's going to buy everything online. And to me, that's rather a kind of sterile experience. It doesn't reflect how human beings are. And again, we saw that during COVID, didn't we? People afterwards were desperate to get out and interact again. So I think it's about how can this brand live through all of the platforms, be it online or in person. How can it be consistent? How can it bring joy? How can it make people excited, make people have hope, make people feel that this is more than just a thing. This is actually something that enriches my life and my values.
How do people get to you to get that service of experience that you've got? I mean, are you wandering the halls of the Spring Fair dishing out your business card?
No.
Or are people actually coming to you because they realise they've got something in the palm of their hand, but they don't quite know how to explore it?
Yeah, we believe in person as well as online networking and marketing. I don't know if I can tell you this, but
Sure.
just you and I, but we're hoping to do an in-person representation of what we offer at Spring and Autumn Fair.
Yeah.
We did something similar at the Museums and Heritage Show, which is the biggest show for that sector, which is held at Olympia, where we literally created an environment where people could see how they could, without spending a lot of money, just thinking differently, facilitate much better quality interactions between show visitors.
Yeah.
And we also offered advice clinics. So I have a team of associates who've worked like me in organizations, and they're all specialists in different areas of retail, hospitality, marketing, and so on. And people could come and have a 15-minute free, no obligation interview around a problem that they were facing, whether it was reinvigorating their retail, re-engaging their team, attracting more customers. And we had specialists who could help them with that. And to me, both creating an environment where people could feel what success looks like and also offering free advice. It's why we've created the Ambience Playbook for exhibitors to Spring Fair. It's free. We did one for the museum sector last year. We believe in giving away as much as possible to show people how it's possible to think differently, get more of a return on the investment that you're already making. And then if you want us to help you to do more and go to the next level, then we're here for you. So I believe that, we give out to get back. So that's how we market effectively.
30 years that you've actually been attending Spring Fair. Have you seen the quality of everything go up? Quality of the stands, quality of the product that's being exhibited, quality of the people that are participating, or have you seen a reduction in that?
I don't know if this is a sort of boring answer, but I think in a way it hasn't changed. There's again a narrative that Spring Fair is past its heyday because it's smaller than it was a few years ago, and again it's not attracting the audiences who are now increasingly online. But I don't actually think any of that's really the issue. I think the issue is we are very lucky in this country. We have an amazing creative retail and manufacturing and design industry who still produce amazing products, concepts, experiences. I think we've seen a lot of reflection of issues such as sustainability and ethical sourcing, mindfulness and well-being reflected. So I think the trends are just changing, but they're reflected. I think the way companies exhibit their wares is changing, but again, it's still very creative. I think I've always felt that people could do more to sort of facilitate a quality conversation rather than a sales pitch, and it's always been one of my bugbears that for all the money that is spent investing in being at a show, the challenge is that people don't always really have the confidence or the skills, not just to sell, but to talk about their product in a way that makes it appealing or relevant to buyers. And I think the other challenge is buyers have less and less time. They're under more and more pressure for sales, for margin. And we've got, I've always said, you've got 3 seconds to stop a buyer walking past, and perhaps then another 10, 20 seconds to explain what it is you offer. And I think that is probably something that could improve. And hopefully we're doing our bit to try and help with that process.
Interestingly, you said that the product is about the same. Mentioning products that are made in Britain.
Yes.
Designed in Britain, you complimented. I was president of the Chartered Society of Designers for a number of years. I know that we have excellent design capability here.
Yes.
Do we have the manufacturing capability anymore to turn that design into actual product?
Well, it's very interesting.
Are we now more reliant on bringing it in from abroad?
Yeah, no, I had a very interesting, I met Keith Brymer-Jones.
Yes.
And had a really interesting conversation with him about the fact that, for example, the Great Pottery Throwdown has encouraged not just people to make pots at home, but actually people to start businesses and go out and whether it's at consumer shows or what I believe we should be doing more of, giving people opportunities to have a pop-up shop in maybe an empty unit on the high street. He said more people are doing that. And yes, he was almost despairing about, the state of the potteries, which, we've obviously seen such a terrible decline and
absolutely.
Everything going to China. But I think we have to build it back up again. I think we can make things and we can build businesses because there's been this massive, massive change and shift doesn't mean that, we can't find our lane and go again. And I think that's really, those kind of shows, whether it's cookery, gardening, pottery, as you all know, the Great British Sewing Bee, another one that's hugely popular. If they encourage people to be the next generation of entrepreneurs and start businesses, and with the increasing focus that there is on sustainability, I've just been talking to a guy, I think you'll be talking to him, who has a a sustainable stationery business
Yeah.
and he sources nothing from the Far East,
Yeah.
we can rebuild our sector different, and perhaps smaller and more focused, but we can rebuild it. I honestly believe that.
When you get to Spring Fair, what puts the hair up on the back of your neck when you walk through the door? What gives you the buzz?
I think it's almost that sound of all those conversations.
And one word that would describe Spring Fair?
Unmissable.
Unmissable. Right. Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was brilliant.